Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. So Russia says that the U.S. has now declared total war on them. This could be a major step, so I wanted to cover this. Before I get into this, I just put one up over on Patreon about the danger of training. I'm not going to put it on YouTube because as I get into some more of the serious stuff that has a limited audience of understanding. I'm not putting this stuff up on YouTube because I'm tired of having to deal with people who come on with their Wikipedia knowledge and try to illuminate and question things. That's for the serious people over there. Things are getting more serious, and if you're serious, come on over and you can watch it over there, links below. But this is what I wanted to talk about today. Just came out, this is from The Hill. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Friday took aim at the sanctions the United States and other countries have imposed on Moscow for its invasion of Ukraine, saying that he believes that the West has declared total war on Russia. Now that's important. It's important to take that into consideration that he has used that term, total war. Lavrov made his comments during a meeting in which he described actions that Western nations have taken in response to Russia's going into Ukraine as a real hybrid war, adding that total war was declared on us. Again, the importance of his using that sentence, total war was declared on us. You know, is this just the normal Russian bluff? But we see that they don't always bluff. Or is it the setup to, well, you have declared total war on us, so now whatever we do is on you, not us. And I have a, who knows? I can't read his mind, neither can you. Lavrov also said that he believes the West has a goal to destroy, break, annihilate, strangle the Russian economy and Russia on the whole. And then he warned that Russia does have allies. We have many friends, allies, partners in the world, a huge number of associations in which Russia is working with countries of all continents, and we will continue to do so. Now that's true. Russia does have allies around the world and people. Can we say China, who may not necessarily be allies, but wouldn't mind supplying them in a dust-up of whatever extent with us. Now, a lot of this we know is for domestic consumption. A lot of this is for his people to hear, but it's also for us to hear. And for him to come out and say that they have declared, that the United States and its allies have declared total war, okay, that's being first to assign the blame. You all have done something to us. Now, whatever we do is simply in response to that. I'm going to read here for just a minute a report by Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. He's the executive director of the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security. This is from January of last year. It's entitled Russia EMP Threat. Now, in the past, I have advised people, prepare for an EMP. Prepare for an EMP. That's what my books were all about. Prepare for an EMP, because if you're prepared for an EMP, you're prepared for anything else. And a lot of people said, an EMP is never going to happen. It's going to be this, that, or the other thing, or a financial crisis, which we've seen, food shortages, which we're seeing, but EMP would never happen. I've always maintained that an EMP is a high probability. I never claimed that I thought it would be from Russia. I thought it would be from, third-party actors. But you don't know. You don't know what's going on in the minds of other people. And so, as I said, if you're prepared for an EMP, you are prepared for everything else. And I never understood preparing for anything less than an EMP. So here we are. Let me read about this. So his paper was Russia EMP Threat, and subtitled The Russian Federation's Military Doctrine, Plans, and Capabilities for Electromagnetic Pulse Attack. I'm just going to read the first few lines here on key judgments that he starts off with. I know that a lot of you know a lot of this, if not all of it. I know that new people may not know all of this, so I encourage you to pay attention and realize that this is a very real threat, and the threat is probably greater now than it's ever been before. So these are his key judgments. The United States and NATO allies regularly experience from Russia major cyber attacks penetrating government agencies and critical infrastructures for electric power, telecommunications, transportation, and other sectors vital to electronic civilization. These events practice a new way of warfare, including EMP attacks that could black out North America and NATO Europe and win World War III at the speed of light. Nothing to be done. Don't poo-poo it. This is not to be taken lightly. Any nuclear weapon, he says, detonated in outer space, and we've known this, I write about this in my book, 30 kilometers or higher will generate a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse, a HEMP. I think I just mentioned this in yesterday's video or some, damaging all kinds of electronics, blacking out electric grids, and collapsing other life-sustaining critical infrastructures. No blast, thermal fallout, or effects other than HEMP are experienced in the atmosphere or on the ground. Russian military doctrine, here we're getting into this, because HEMP attacks electronics, categorizes nuclear HEMP attack as a dimension of informational warfare, electronic warfare, and cyber warfare, which are modes of warfare operating within the electromagnetic spectrum. Russia has super EMP weapons specialized for HEMP attack and potentially generate 100,000 volts meters or higher, greatly exceeding the U.S. military hardening standard of 50,000 volts meter. So for those people who have said, well, our military is hardened, not necessarily. Russia has been working on this and continually working on this, while our own leadership has backed us off of it. Okay, I don't know the entire ins and outs of it. Chances are you don't either. Better to prepare for the worst and hope for the best than the other way around. So let me repeat that, what he has just said. Russia has super EMP weapons specialized for HEMP attack that potentially generate 100,000 volts meter or higher, greatly exceeding the U.S. military hardening standard of 50,000 volts meter. As a result of its HEMP nuclear tests, the Soviet Union and today Russia probably knows a lot more about HEMP effects than the United States does. Super EMP is a first strike weapon. According to Alexei Vashenko, who describes Russian nuclear weapons specially designed to make extraordinarily powerful HEMP fields as Russia's means for defeating the United States. Hypersonic vehicles are potentially a new avenue for surprise HEMP attack, flying at 50 to 100 kilometers altitude, the optimum height of burst for super EMP warheads. Russia has the technical capability to clandestinely orbit a nuclear-armed satellite or satellites to be maintained in orbit for years until needed to make a surprise HEMP attack. HEMP attack could achieve for Russia a key objective the USSR could not achieve during the Cold War, neutralizing U.S. ballistic missile submarines at sea. Russia probably remains the world's leader in non-nuclear EMP weapons, also called radio frequency weapons, marriage of NNEMP, non-nuclear, to drones or cruise missiles equipped with sensors to follow high-power electric lines and target control centers and transformers, introduces a major new threat to national power grids. As Russia categorizes HEMP attack as information, electronic, or cyber warfare, Moscow's already very loose strictures for nuclear employment may not even apply to HEMP. Okay, I was going to attach this over on Patreon. It's a PDF file. I'm not smart enough to know how to do that. I'll keep trying if I can't. If I'm not able to, Just look it up for yourself. Just search Russia EMP threat, subtitled The Russian Federation's Military Doctrine, Plans, and Capabilities for Electromagnetic Pulse Attack. And this was Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, Executive Director of the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security, dated January 2021. And read it. They have apparently they have set the stage for claiming that we have declared war on them, total war. They use the term total war, that the U.S. and NATO have declared total war on them, giving them that cover to respond in whatever way they feel that they can be, that they can use as an excuse. And if this report is true, then it indicates that they have first strike capabilities for both the United States and Europe that we may not be able to counter or protect against. I don't know you get much more serious than that. So, as I've said before, prepare for an EMP, because if it doesn't happen, you're prepared for everything else. But if you're not prepared for an EMP, I'd suggest you get busy and get started. Because, as they've said, as I say in my books, they projected clear from the early 2000s that after an EMP strike, there will be a 90% die-off in the affected areas in the first 12 months after the strike. This is the worst case scenario. My books were about a CME, taking out the whole world. The worst possible scenario would be this, to where they take our power grid down, leaving us then open to invasion by any other powers that wanted to come in. And that would include, that could include Russia, that could include China, that could include any number of other powers, Iran. It could simply, the existing problems we have at our border would just be intensified. Okay, that's the news. It's news to be taken seriously. I'd suggest that if you are not totally prepared, you spend whatever time and money you can afford to get prepared. I'm taking it seriously, and I think you should too. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.